Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and this is
El Bandito.
Oh man, El Bandito. I gotta say, I know this week we got some real scary events coming at us.
Absolutely, man. And I have to say the scariest thing about it is our super podcast team up tonight. That's right, guys. We have found the hottest and bestest horror podcast out there. And in celebration of this week's Friday the 13th, we wanted to connect with them, connect with all you beautiful people out there, and rap about some awesome horror hijinks going out in the world today. What have we got on the program tonight, Senor Boyle?
Oh man, we are so excited and stoked to invite the Horror Mafia podcast on board so we could talk about Friday the 13th. We got some podunk news. We're going to talk about horror comics, horror games. We're going to talk about all things horror related tonight. So, you guys sit tight, man. We're going to freaking rock and roll, share the video, and man, why don't we go ahead and bring in the Mafia?
Heck yeah, let's do it, guys. All right, we're going to head on over and say hello. Bam.
Oh, hold on one second.
Yeah, what's going on over here? We're doubling down on the us action, but we're going to shoot it on over to the...
Hold on one second, fella. Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
We got some Horror Mafia in the house. We got Baby Joey himself saying hello. What's up tonight, sir?
What's happening, guys? How you doing? Thanks for having us.
Oh, man, we're so excited to have you guys. Who else is in the house with the Horror Mafia?
Of course, we got the boss.
Hey, what's up?
Donni Rings.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? It's great to be here.
Oh, yeah, man. Donnie's in the house, man, ready to rock and roll. And who is finishing up the crew in the Horror Mafia over there?
We got Big Bill Casanelli and Terrible Tanya right there.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, man, we're so stoked to have you guys in the house tonight, man. We got an awesome program. But, man, real quick before we dive into all the wild stuff that we want to talk about, why don't you guys go ahead and tell us a little bit about what the Horror Mafia podcast is all about?
Oh, boy, what the Horror Mafia podcast is all about? Well, look at the name. We got horror, we got mafia, and we got technology issues all the time. I mean, it never ends with the Horror Mafia podcast. Listen to our show and you'll find out all about it. But seriously, we got horror, we got mafia. We talk all horror movies from the obscure gems that Don finds, and we got, the surrealist stuff that's up my alley to Bill's classics and stuff
Slashix.
I know we've checked out the podcast several times, guys, and I have to say, when Charboil first introduced it to me, because he's a much bigger horror fan than I am, when he was like, bro, you got to check this out. It's Big Bill. We've known him for years and years and years, played some D&D with him up at Big Dog Comics and Thunderdome Gaming out there. Shout out to Captain Joel. But yeah, man, we've had a blast. We've hung out. We've done all sorts of stuff with Big Bill. And when he told me, hey, he's out here doing a podcast about horror stuff, I was like, I don't know if I'd really like that because I'm not a super big horror guy. But he's like, dude, it's the Horror Mafia podcast. So you get in there and you get some antipasto where they tell you a little bit about, bits and pieces of things. And then they get into their main courses and their big dishes and their family meals. Dude, it's so cool. And I love the Italian flair on everything. And I don't think Bill ever had this much of an accent until he started hanging out with you guys. But now it's like wicked bad.
With this show, usually, I'm the drinker of this little group here. I'm the Dean Martin, as you will, of this rat pack.
Well, if I could, the one thing that really sold me once I started listening was that each of you have your kind of own individual experience in kind of the movie industry somewhere, whether you're making indie productions completely by yourself or working on other sets or whatever. You guys are all just experienced and very articulate when it comes to describing why you do and don't like movies. It's not like, that was cheesy and I hated it. No, you guys are telling like, hey, there's this weird shadow, so the lighting director didn't have this thing in the right place, and I don't really know what he was thinking. But my favorite part about it is that you guys tell it like, you're like, I don't know why this guy had his fucking potted plant in the scene. It was just in another scene in a fucking subway. They couldn't get another fucking plant. Like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, it's just hilarious. You guys are so much fun, man. So I really want to encourage all our listeners, horror fans or not, to go and check you guys out. I know you're on iTunes, which is pretty dope. We're not even on iTunes. Dang. They know you can find you guys on YouTube. Where else can they track you guys down?
You could check out our website, horrormafiapodcast.com. You could find us on the Horrorphilia Network and anywhere podcast outlets, iTunes, Stitcher, all that jazz.
So how long have you guys been jamming on the Horror Mafia podcast?
I'm glad you asked.
Feel that, Billy.
We're coming up on exactly a year.
Oh, look at that. Gonna have a big anniversary show?
Donnie,
our anniversary. Donnie will tell you about that.
Yeah, we have a special anniversary show planned. We're gonna bring aboard several of our big guests that we've had in the past, and we're all gonna sit together and we're all gonna roast Bill by watching 3 of his movies.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man.
Oh, is Scary Tales on that list?
YouTube's got to tune in.
Scary Tales 1 and 2, yeah. We're also going to do Dirty Cop No Donut.
I love it.
That's so awesome, man. Are you guys going to be taking calls during that one so we can call you up?
Yeah, we'll be live. I got to figure out about taking calls, but we have the chat room on our YouTube when we go live.
Nice. Sounds awesome, man. I know we'll definitely be in there. We'll be checking it out, man, because I know we've seen a couple of Bill's movies, man, and they're definitely a lot of fun. So we'd love to revisit that. We were talking about that not too long ago. We ran into Joel Winecoop. We did an interview with him at the Daytona Beach Comic-Con about a month or so ago, and we couldn't help but reminisce about your guys' time together and some of the films you guys did together. So super cool.
Of course, Scary Tales 1 and 2 being one of those.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the ones we're going to cover. Yeah, those are the other.
I can't wait. I'm going to Joey the hell out of it.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I brought up the fact that I'm the drinker of this group is usually I drink Bud Light on the show.
Okay.
But as my buddies here from Florida, I thought I'd kick back and go old school with them and bring out the Keystone Light.
Oh,
nice.
There you go, man.
Time to get stoned.
There you go.
That's how you
My job on the podcast.
you brought out that Florida gold right there.
Exactly, sir.
Well, very
Awesome.
cool guy. Well, as the horror aficionados that you guys are, you guys have to be stoked for Friday the 13th this weekend, man.
It's coming up, and we just did a major battle of the icons where we pitted Freddy versus Jason.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Classic, iconic duo, man.
We ran through all the franchises. We wanted to do it in one big episode, but it was so big it had to be a 2-parter. Right, boss? You approved.
Yeah, that's sort of Joey speak for his. He ended up canceling on the show at the last second, so we had to do it in 2. He ended up sleeping through half. He slept through half the recording, so we had to put it into 2 nights. That's just his polite way of covering the truth.
Joey the nap artist.
Well, dude, like you said, you guys are out there, you're drinking, you're having a good time, you're rocking things out. So, it's a party out there, and sometimes a party gets a little out of hand. We get that,
That's why I stopped drinking booze and podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. See, there's only 2 of us. If one of us goes down, it's pretty tough. But you guys got to force him. You got some leeway for one of you guys to catch a few Z's. So that's all right, man.
Yeah. It's just bad when it's 2 a.m. and we're all like, heads hitting the keyboard.
Yeah, well, you guys do a pretty long show as well. Like, how long's your average on shows?
We're usually like 3.5. We're usually like 3.5 hours on our video chat, but usually the episodes come out somewhere around 2.5 to 2:45.
Yeah,
we've touched 3. We've touched 3 on a few episodes, but
touched 5 one time.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
We touched 5. The average is at least 2, and it's 2.5 to 3 hours, I'd say, on most episodes. But I learned how to truncate the sound, the silence a little, and shaves pretty good amount off.
You shaved off a great joke at the beginning. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was good too.
It's all good, man. We have a longtime friend of ours and guest on the show often, Party Man Will, and he comes on here, and we kind of gave him this like the Little John name, where he's a great big guy, but they call him Little John, so we call him Party Man because he has this very monotone, very slow pace to his speak.
Oh yeah.
And when he used to do our audio only podcast, yeah, dude, I'd go in there and just be cutting out all of this silence because he would do this almost William Shatner-esque read, and there'd be all these short pauses, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. We only have an hour. Get out of here.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I think we're in a zone right now where I don't even need to do it.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know, we got like this morning zoo atmosphere going on, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Love it, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a sort of thing. You start building your rapport for, you know, doing your shows and stuff, and then it's just water under the bridge. And half the time, Bulls, you know, we get done with the show, he's like, bro, shut up a little bit. Let me get a few words in here.
That's me. I'm the worst when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Like, guys,
Yeah.
Well, besides this awesome, you know, giant two-parter that you guys put out, do you have any plans for the actual weekend? Are you guys doing anything fun together, or?
Well, I know what I'll be on Friday. I'll be watching Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder.
Oh, yeah. That's that 24-hour marathon that he's doing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
but I mean, we our show comes out every Monday. So basically every week we're recording. We went from bi-weekly last year when we started in the end of July to now weekly in 2018, and we've been consistent, you know. So every Monday, catching, you know, Monday Morning Mafia, baby.
There you go, man. That's the best time too, you know, because everyone's, you know, if they're sitting at their office or something like that Monday morning, man, they can get their horror film because you know what they're thinking about sitting there, you know. they want to go on a spree, you know.
Well, that was funny, like how I asked about the length of your guys' show. The first time I actually turned on your guys' podcast, I ran through like 4 or 5 of them while I was working on this project for a client, and I was supposed to bill by the hour. So by the time I got done with it, I was like, oh, it's been like 3 hours. How many of these things did I watch? I was like, oh, I listened to like 3 of them. So, you know, I was there like, you know, like 12 hours or something.
Now, if you guys had to name one, what would be your favorite episode so far that you guys have done?
That's a loaded question.
For me, because I know the backstory behind it, our Asian double feature.
Ooh.
That's like asking me to choose a favorite kid here.
That's a torture.
That's
Yeah.
Well,
I know
retarded kid.
I know the backstory behind it. For me, the Asian horror one we did, that was one of my favorites. I also like the one was a lot of fun too. I love that one. That one was
Which one?
because we did we did a triple feature on Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We had our good friend J Mac on.
Yeah, that one was a blast. I loved that one.
I'll tell you one that was, you know, it might not be one of my favorites, but it's just hysterical going back and listening. We covered The Godfather 1 and 2, and if you listen back, it's just like me retelling the fucking story of The Godfather.
Like you're just scene for scene telling the movie, right?
It's like me like telling our family heritage.
I think I talk like 7 lines in the entire movie, and the entire purpose of the show was that it was my first time watch of both movies.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
you know,
talked like 7. I had like 7 lines in the whole episode.
I think one of my favorite ones was when you guys had Tanya watch. Was it Pink Flamingos?
oh, that's my favorite episode.
Dude, I've never seen that movie, and when you guys are describing it, I'm like, I've got to see this movie, man. This sounds insane, bro.
Yeah, that's my favorite episode, hands down.
Now, I know you guys have kind of a fun little segment you do. I think it might be attached to your Patreon where people can donate and like make Tanya watch a terrible movie. Can you describe a little bit about that?
Tanya's torture.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Sometimes
it's
they're not torturous, but sometimes they're really torturous, like Birdemic.
yeah.
I heard that one, the Birdemic one, dude. That sounded insane too, man.
Birdemic was one of a kind.
Is that the all-time worst so far, Tanya?
Mystics and Bali. Mystics and Bali.
I think Mystics and Bali is probably the worst one so far.
Now, what's the gauge on bad? That the movie's bad? That it makes you feel bad?
It's just bad.
flying around, eating pregnant girls' fetuses from the. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, so you're doubling down there on like it's bad and it's making me feel bad.
You're just like, what is going on?
Well, I love how many kind
when
of.
we had Jeremy on actually.
Oh,
That was a
we
good
covered.
episode.
Oh, that was great. We made them. I made them watch the Jersey Shore family reunion.
Oh,
We had Jeremy from 22 Shots of Horror, another podcast on the network. He came on the show, and Don, I think you enjoyed it, right? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. I just thought the girls were hot to look at.
Oh man,
you expected, right?
Chris Hall's in the comments here. He's saying that Birdemic was awful.
Oh, it's awful. Man,
Exploding
that's one of the worst.
birds. The guy didn't know how to walk.
Now,
Like 20 minutes of a car driving.
if you guys had to pick a dream guest, who would be your, all time? I mean, it could be anybody. Who would be your all time dream guest to be on the Horror
Felicity
Mafia?
Rose.
Wow.
You don't get to nail her, Bill.
If he spoke English, Dario Argento, I think the stories we could get out of him.
I could try to translate it. I'll do the best I can. My dream guest would have to be Don Coscarelli. I mean, I love, Phantasm is one of my all-time favorites. But believe it or not, if I had him on the show, I would talk to him about food and other stuff, not Phantasm.
There you go. Well, yeah, sometimes that's the thing. You meet these guys and, everyone thinks, they just want to talk about the stuff that they starred in. Like we know when we met Patrick Stewart that one time, not that we ever had him on the show or anything.
Yeah.
Like he did not want to talk about Star Trek at all.
No way.
Right. I mean, I'm sure, they love it, but I mean, man, how much, it's like, I love pizza. I could eat it every day, but there's one day in the week I need a break. 6 days are right. Give me a hamburger. Yeah, thank you.
You need to clear the cholesterol out of your system.
All right, Tanya, how about you? Who's dream guest?
I'd like to see Kane Hodder on.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the
seems
guy
like a
from
super nice
Supernatural.
guy. Oh, we're not going to talk. It's that he doesn't. It's not really horror.
It's scary.
Yeah,
Some of the guest actors they have are pretty scary.
yeah, that's true.
What is he? Hunky leather jacket guy?
Yeah, Dean.
Is it Dean? Oh, come on, Dean's the man, dude. Shit, I would love to hang out with Dean.
He likes Metallica. He's got my approval.
There you go.
He knows every word to Eye of the Tiger. He's got to be a great human being.
Down and out, just watch him sing "Eye of the Tiger."
All right, I'm in.
Tiger.
Let's do it.
All right, Bill, let's hear it. Who would be your dream guest?
Oh, I said Felicity Rose, my ex-coach.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Absolutely, man.
She'd be blessed.
That's an old friend of yours, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Who I would really, really, really love to get on the show? I would love to get Jason Lloyd. Jason Lloyd is our producer at Horrorphilia, and oh man, I'm dying to get this guy on the show. I've been trying to get him on all three of my shows for
we
2
are what we
years.
are, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Our first episode was in the top 5.
Oh, there you go,
Nice.
man. That's awesome, man.
And I
No.
had poor sound quality, but I didn't have this microphone.
Hey, content is king, man. So as long as it's good, people will suffer through, a lot of hang-ups and, things if it's good. And that's the key component that, I was trying to get across at the beginning. It's good, If you're a horror fan or not, it's good and entertaining, man. So we loved what you guys were doing. It's why we wanted you on the show. So again, thanks for coming out here, guys. Really super cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Now, digging on some awesome, Friday the 13th stuff that's coming up. Now, we know you guys have done, specials on Friday the 13th and stuff, so we're not going to be, asking you, what's your favorite, film or something like that. But we did want to say that today is a very special person's birthday that we wanted to just throw a shout-out for, and Mr. Fusion, it's his birthday today. He's a good friend of ours. I know Bill C. over there knows good old Chucky, that's what we also know him as. And, one of the things he wanted us to ask, because he's actually going to be possibly starting a podcast adventure of his own soon that kind of deals with food and booze and occasional horror movies, but
growing,
yeah, exactly, he's trying to fill the void, but in his stomach, because he's always drinking, but what he wanted to know from each of you, what would be your favorite kill in a Friday the 13th movie? There's tons of them.
I got mine.
What's yours? Go for it, Bill. Let's hear it.
Mine is in Jason X, believe it or not. It's when he shoves that chick's head in the liquid nitrogen and smashes it.
Oh,
That's mine too.
Seconded.
Oh, there you go. We got to. All right. Joey, what are you gonna say? We gotta.
Well, my favorite and my least favorite come from the same film. Actually.
Oh, really? Okay. What's your favorite first?
My favorite is the head punch off in part 8.
Jason takes me hat.
Oh, when he's boxing him? Yeah.
Yes, that. And a runner-up I give to when Horseshack gets it in part 6.
There you go. There you go. Now, you mentioned something interesting earlier. What would be your least favorite kill?
I know mine.
In the same film, part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, it's the guitar kill.
The guitar? yeah, that was pretty bad.
That's the one I'm thinking.
What do we got?
The horror community's about to hate me for this, but part 7, New Blood, when he takes the girl on the sleeping bag and whacks her against the tree.
Really?
He just said, dude, that was a ripoff of the movie Prophecy from 1979.
Bill's like, listen up, Jay. That's of course, I could totally see where you're coming from, Bill, being that came from another film, but definitely it is one of the most iconic, I would say.
Yeah.
And everybody loves that kill.
Yeah. How about you, Donnie? What's your least favorite kill on a Friday?
My least favorite is also from part 7, but it's a different one. It's the party horn to the eye. The girl when she's leaning out the truck.
Oh,
he just rams that party horn. No, it's part 7.
Absolutely.
Because that's the black couple.
Yeah, I remember.
Couple.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking the girl getting her face through the campers. Part 6. Okay.
Now,
no.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the girl that she leans up the truck. Yeah, she leans out the truck and she slams that party horn through her eye.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Now, Tanya, are you have you gotten a chance to catch all of the Friday the 13th films yet?
Yes. And my least favorite is Rick in part 4 yelling, "He's killing me."
Oh.
He's killing him.
Now, remember that was the dude who was like the tough guy, right? Didn't he show up and he was like kind of like, I'm gonna kill Jason, you know? And he's killing me.
And he's a wussy. He's killing me.
They should have put that in one of the game kills, like he's killing me.
I know.
Cuts away.
Chris Hall down here in the comments, he says it's got to be wheelchair guy going down the stairs with a machete in the head.
I wonder. I take it that is that the best. I wonder, Chris, is that your favorite, or is that because that's another very iconic.
That was his least favorite.
Didn't he kill Kevin Bacon in one of them?
I was gonna say the arrowhead.
Yeah.
Well,
because that looked great, but that made me very sad. So that's probably my least favorite. You can't kill Kevin Bacon. That's awesome.
Technically, that wasn't a Jason kill, though.
Very true.
And there we go. We're throwing down some. I guess for anyone out there that hasn't seen Friday the 13th, spoiler alert.
Whatever.
So, guys, I just wanted to give a shout out on those episodes. We put together the Golden Machete Award and the Golden Fedora Award, and we do more best and worst of the franchise.
Awesome. Well, then, everyone, you got to go out there and check it out. These ones came as a special request from our good friend, Mr. Fusion, so we wanted to throw those out there. But absolutely, if you guys dug that little segment, you guys got to go out there and check out the Horror Mafia podcast's episode. Is it all about Friday the 13th?
Episode 35 and 36.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well,
35 is all about. Yeah, 35 is all about Friday the 13th, all Nightmare on Elm Street.
Awesome. Well, we know Mr. Fusion will be all over that one. He's also a huge Freddy Krueger fan. Now, let's talk a quick minute about the Friday the 13th, the games.
Hey, before we run off, Neil in the comments says he was on that show with you guys.
Neil the boy.
Hey, Neil the boy.
There you go.
Wanted to show him some love down there.
Absolutely. Much love to welcome Neil. Well, we want to talk a little bit about the video games. Now, what would you guys say? Do you prefer, I know this is a crazy question, the NES Classic or the 2017 pretty
think.
multiplayer.
Well, believe it or not, I've never played the new one.
Really? Okay,
Really,
okay.
I've never played it, but this year I actually acquired like a little bootleg NES Classic from China for like $18.
Nice.
Wish.com.
Yeah, I wasn't even that. It was some wacky website, but it came after like a month, and it had this on it. So I'm like, hell yeah, and I'm playing it, and dude, I was freaking jumping. Like you go in the room, and like you're looking forward, and you just go to turn around, and
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe it, and like not just once or twice, like every freaking time it gets me. Like, oh shit!
Considering I do like a lot of graphics work, I do the majority of the graphics for the show. Like, I totally feel you because I'm like, oh, what, he's fucking purple. What's going on?
That's a good point because it really pops.
Yeah,
he's freaking purple. Look at him right there.
He's there.
Purple bastard.
yeah. And I love though he's like twice the size of the counselors, even though they're both adults. But
she looks like a little kid.
yeah.
Looks like he's holding a Marlboro.
No,
It's like I'm on my break.
I know lately it's been really sad news that any further updates to the 2017 game have been halted due to this whole big lawsuit that's going on.
Well, actually,
and
that's not quite true. Well, I mean, it is true.
Yeah.
As for the moment.
Yeah.
But they've actually been working with the guys who made a fan movie called Never Hike Alone.
Oh, okay. So not all is lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
And I heard a rumor that Victor Miller said once the lawsuit's over, the game can continue.
oh, that's really that's awesome. No, that's very cool. We also heard that the Killer Puzzle game development's actually been halted on that too.
That game, dude.
I already finished it. I'm waiting for an update, but I guess I'm going to be waiting a while.
It might be a little bit, maybe we all need to just go back and enjoy this NES classic.
That's what we'll be playing. They'll all have that.
I never had it on NES, man. I always had it on the Commodore 64.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Bill's got the old school style.
It's not easy, this game.
Oh, it is not.
I was getting frustrated, ready to go old school and put the remote through the TV.
Oh, one of our fans here in the comments has asked, what do you guys think about the upcoming Man-Eater game? That's the RPG where you play as a shark.
He's like, man. I went to go freaking purchase it, but it's not out yet.
No, you got to pre-order.
You gotta pre-order it.
Yeah, I know the company that's putting it out. I know they had a big thing at the E3 PC game show. So I know right now it's, at least from what the last we had heard, that it's only going to be on PC for now. But I'm sure something like that's going to make its way through all. I mean, we're both also PC gamers, so we'll be able to play it. But I know some of our console friends out there might be a little, they might have to wait a little longer.
PC Master Race.
Now, earlier I know you guys were saying you guys did a big old thing about Freddy versus Jason, throwing it down. We got to hear it. Like, if Jason could face any other horror icon, which one would you guys think would be the best?
Oh, holy Moses. I mean, I don't think this would be the best one. Can you imagine, like, little Chucky, that little rat bastard running around? Jason, like,
why don't you throw that image up there for him?
That'd be comedy gold, but look at that.
We even got Elvira on there. Now that's a match I might need to see.
That'd probably slow Jason in his tracks.
We got the killer clowns from outer space.
No, that's what Don's going to say. Jaws.
Yeah.
Sharknado found.
Sharknado versus Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I can tell, Jason's pretty apt in the water, though. It's not like that totally shuts him down. So
Drowned as a kid.
yeah.
Unless you go by the Freddy versus Jason rules, where all of a sudden, Jason's afraid of water. But every other movie, you seem to swim in it pretty okay.
Yeah, like he jumps out and grabs people, and you're like, dude, they were on a boat. He swims like 30 knots.
So who would you guys think? I mean, we see Pennywise in there. He'd be quite a formidable foe, getting into his mind. And imagine what Jason's afraid of.
The killer clowns, like, surrounding Jason and him doing, like, the side head tilt.
I lost a bet. I bet myself that you'd say Predator.
Oh no. My official answer on this.
Yeah.
And I hate to always be harping on it, but the Tall Man. I'm a Phantasm guy, but aside from that, think about the Tall Man, right? Look at it. He's got a hulking presence that can match up with Jason, right? And just picture like, Jason battling all the little Jawas.
There you go. He's got all of his minions.
Yeah, battling the lurkers like with a gas mask, chopping their heads off.
And see,
badass.
See, that's what I was thinking. Was like, my first thought was to go with an army of critters.
Hey,
because when they made that big ball, it would just roll over people and their skin and bones. Like that's pretty hard to stop.
Yeah.
I think
go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
For me, I think just as a fun in joke, Victor Crowley.
Oh, there you go. That's from there you go.
I couldn't decide between him or Leatherface.
Is that your answer, Leatherface?
I think,
Leatherface would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, did you?
In joke, I think Jason versus Victor Crowley.
There you go.
But I definitely like the Leatherface thought though, because you want to talk about the hulking presence and all. Like they're pretty matched up, but Jason seems to have the edge on invulnerability, while Leatherface certainly has the edge on I can do severely more damage and move faster. So
I'm going to throw down some horror trivia right now.
Okay.
And it's that back in the 90s, Topps Comics actually put out a comic where Leatherface and Jason met.
Nice.
Have you guys ever checked that out?
I had the Friday the 13th comics from Dynamite.
Absolutely, man. Now, I know this was before any of the Dynamite ones. Like it was very much like maybe like a 4-parter.
Yeah, and I like how you said met, as though like they didn't fight; they just like had coffee.
No,
and,
well, Jason like shows up in like Texas. I mean, I know like Crystal Lake's like up in New Jersey or something.
Right. He's on vacation, whatever. Sometimes you want to see the country.
With a fruit platter.
Leatherface is like, we don't eat fruit here; we eat meat.
But yeah, I guess even like
I left the gabagool at home.
I know Crop Top and like the cook, like they kind of like bring Jason in as like an unofficial like family member, but then they get pissed off because he's like kind of taking all the kills, So yeah, like they
the door.
So yeah, they end up like having a throwdown. So I mean, when you think about like the plot to Freddy versus Jason, they kind of stole some ideas from this old Topps comic. But yeah, definitely very interesting. I'm sure it's like a collector's item now. Yeah. It was very much like a one-off, but yeah, just a little trivia out there that I wanted to throw out.
Very cool, man.
Actually, with pairing him up with the killer from Laid to Rest, Chrome Skull.
Oh, okay. Now let me just ask: have you guys watched Terrifier yet?
No, I haven't. I've been waiting to watch it.
Now, I really...
With our show, we don't have much time to watch it for fun, except Don.
Now, Art the Clown is definitely a very interesting killer, and like
All Hallows Eve.
I won't spoil anything, but I thought that was I wouldn't say he'd be a formidable foe for Jason just because he's more on that realistic side, but it's that's definitely another flick to check out if you're looking for a pretty nasty new age killer.
Very cool. Can't wait to get to it.
What about Jason versus the Blob?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, let's see him take that one on.
Holy schmoly. The Blob needs to come back.
We haven't seen the Blob since, 1990? 88. There you go. Well, definitely. Well, that's awesome, guys. Well, we're going to be talking about more horror comics and more movies and more video games and all kinds of cool stuff. But we're going to take a quick jump into some podunk news. The Horror Mafia is going to stay hanging out with us. We're going to kind of take the center stage for a quick second. But you guys feel free to jump in and give some commentary on any of these crazy stories that we have to tell.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to jump into the newsroom and we'll see you there. Okay.
Podunk News.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's that time. We're going to speed through this one pretty quickly because our buddies in the Horror Mafia are still hanging with us, but we're going to tell you guys some of the wildest stories that are going on out there in this podunk world that we all live in. So throw it on up there, El Bandito. What are we talking about first?
Let's see. we have got Fallout 76, man. Now, there's all sorts of news and a buzz going on about this thing. Horror Mafia out there, you guys play any Fallout games?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what Fallout is.
That was the most Italian answer you could have given. I love it.
Well, one thing we have learned from Todd Howard, the mastermind over these latest, Fallout games, is that he has confirmed that, unfortunately, no cross-platform capabilities will be on Fallout 76, which is pretty sad for some of the folks, like you said, that are playing on PC and they have friends who are playing on consoles. Unfortunately, we're all not going to be able to spread the love and play together. Yeah. But if you're looking for a person to blame Sony. That's what Todd's saying. He's saying that Sony's the one that doesn't want you guys to play together. So that's coming right from the horse's mouth there, and just kind of saying, hey, well, while everybody else was game, they're not going to do it just for two of the, they're just going to keep it console or platform specific. But
so that kind of sucks, but they have released some good news about like how they're going to prevent griefing for this online play in the Fallout world and stuff like that. And we won't get into too much of the details because a lot of that's still in beta and few things may change here or there, but it definitely sounds like this is going to be a multiplayer experience that's very unique, but also very similar to things we've played before, but with enough of a unique edge that I think it's going to be a really intriguing game. So I can't wait to check it out.
Two other little things that they've confirmed, which I know people were asking about, was that fast travel will exist, which is very iconic in like a Skyrim or Fallout game. And they did say that you won't be able to get into any like real deal player versus player combat until you at least have hit level 5. So like you said, without getting too into all the griefing and all that.
Yeah, they're not just going to be waiting out at spawn points and clubbing you over the head with a, board with nails in it.
You will be able to shoot a nuke off at an enemy camp. You know that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's going to be pretty hard to contend with. But I do like the way they've said that they've made your...
What is Fallout about? What is this game? Airplanes or some shit?
We're going to get with you after the show. We're going to give you some learning.
I got to get back into the video game lane.
Dude, trust me, like 900 hours I put into Fallout 4. Yeah, and I looked at that and was like, holy crap, I need to get back to work. This is terrible. Super fun stuff, though. RPG, post-apocalyptic, man, super cool. I think you'd definitely dig it.
I love RPG.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. And it's made by the people who's made Elder Scrolls, so it's like based on the same engine. If you ever played in Oblivion or something like that.
That was like the last of my
life. We just got a comment, guys, from Neil. Saying, Joey, Fallout is what happened to your hair.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
And it's what used to happen when I didn't have arms on my chair.
You fall out of it.
There you go. Yeah, fall out. That's awesome. Well, moving on to our next story, something that's hit the comic world pretty big is that over the July 4th weekend, Batman and Catwoman we're gonna get married.
Yeah. Like, hey, a little bit of spoilers, guys. So if you're very interested in the story, you might want to tune out for half a second. But yeah, unfortunately, the wedding of Batman and Catwoman was set to take place in the issue that premiered on Wednesday, because new comic books always come out on Wednesday. So Wednesday, July 4th, this comic premiered, kind of with mixed reviews because it didn't go off without a hitch, and Batman himself ended up getting stood up at the altar.
Oh,
so no. Damn, man.
Issue 50.
Talk about ego stompage.
The last comic book marriage I remember was like Archie and Betty or something.
There you go. Well, yeah, it almost seems like these always are such a big build-up, and then, they kind of just get, left at the altar.
Or something terrible happens.
Spider-Man and Mary Jane was good.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Mary Jane was good, but like Cyclops and Jean Grey, boy, that was like a nightmare.
Well, anything X-Men related usually turns into some sort of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's some crazy convoluted 8 or 9 different titles across story you got to match. I've never been able to read a whole X-Men story.
But if you guys let us know in the comments what you're thinking. Were you looking forward to the wedding? Were you disappointed with the outcome? But
there's also a lot of hullabaloo about the fact that they gave the story to the New York Times for them to publish a piece, much like they did when, Captain America died in the comics and Superman died in the comics. Like, they give that to the real press and they'll run a real news story on it. So they did that for this Batman wedding, but the Sunday before, the New York Times published that Batman had got left at the altar, 4 days before the book came out. So a lot of people were pretty pissed about that. But, we'll see what DC's response is to that. Probably never working with the New York Times again.
So what's next on the list, El Bandito?
Let's check it out. Ant-Man and the Wasp came out this weekend, man. Any of you guys get a chance to see it?
No, not yet.
You guys amped about it?
I can't wait to see it.
I know I'm definitely looking forward to it. I haven't seen it yet. I was kind of shrunk down last week by this guy over here. So getting back to my size, I didn't get a chance to make it. But what did you think?
Dude, I thought it was great. Like, I went on a date with Big Steve. Me and him went out to go and see it. We had our official second date, so it was nice. But yeah, he called me up to go and check the movie out like super late last night, and I was like, bro, I'm down. So, we checked it out. And I have to say, like, lived up to the first movie. Super a lot of fun. I know a lot of people were worried about Infinity War crossover and stuff like that, but definitely worth going to see, guys. Don't be too hung up about that. Great flick, man. Paul Rudd kills it. Luis, played by Michael Pena, is like he's like my spirit animal. I love that.
So real quick, man, what do we got to finish up?
I feel like the grandpa of the group. Like, I've never seen this.
No, Joey, I want to tell you. I'll put in a horror perspective for you. Tommy Doyle from Halloween Curse of Michael Myers is Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd, yeah.
Well, when we did our segment last week on Ant-Man and the Wasp and kind of going over the comic book history of them, the original story from 1962 is based, kind of loosely on The Incredible Shrinking Man, which was a horror film. So, and the original story with Henry Pym isn't so much about him being a costumed hero as the Ant-Man, but as being a scientist who developed that, got shrunk down and got taken into an ant colony and had to fight his way out. So, and that kind of enthralled his fascination with ants and where everything went on from there. So,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
Robert Kirkman's thing in the early 2000s, the Irredeemable Ant-Man.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
that was fantastic.
I've got all that run.
No doubt, man. And Kirkman also famous for The Walking Dead, right?
Walking Dead,
yeah. So he's definitely put out some good stuff.
Absolutely, man. So what do we got to finish off Podunk News so we can get the Horror Mafia back in here and everyone can see their beautiful faces?
We're going to wrap it up talking about Florida SuperCon. It's just around the corner, guys, and it's looking awesome.
You know it, man. And, we're not going to spend any more time talking about it tonight because a few weeks ago we had our big Convention Mania show and, we kind of gave a big rundown of what's going on at SuperCon.
Yeah.
So, like...
check out that episode.
Yeah, like Horror Mafia said earlier, go back and check them out because, hey, man, there's still a lot of great stuff coming, as far as conventions go, and this is a big one. So definitely, if you guys want, go back, check out Convention Mania Part 2, where we talk about Florida SuperCon and a bunch of other great conventions coming down this way to Florida.
Absolutely. Big Steve shouting out that Ghost was the bomb in the Ant-Man movie, and, man... absolutely super cool, perfect kind of crazy chick. And the one thing I really loved about like the Ghost character being in this film was, man, I went down to Big Dog Comics this over the weekend, and the #1 first appearance of Ghost is hanging up in his shop, man. So if you're a fan, if you caught the movie and you want to check out the first appearance in an Iron Man comic, actually, of Ghost, you can go down there and pick it up from Captain Joel himself and have an original, man. Pretty awesome.
I highly recommend Captain Joel's store, man. Big fan.
Look at that. Got the Horror Mafia seal of approval.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get him back in here, man. Let's rock and roll. We're going to get out of Podunk News. And we got some more fun for you guys. Man, we are like Flash. We're back here. Man, ready to rock and roll with you guys, man. And I think to get it started, we were talking about comics. Why don't we talk a little bit about how? Oh, actually, what am I thinking? I'm being like a time traveler here. We're gonna talk about horror comics later.
Okay.
We got to talk about music that takes place primarily in Friday the 13th films. Now, we know there's been a lot of different tracks, some good, some terrible, I'm sure, but man, we've picked out a couple that we want the Horror Mafia to decide which is the best track that represents Friday the 13th, represents Jason, just the whole, the whole Friday the 13th enchilada, pretty much.
I got a feeling this one's going to be unanimous.
Well, here we'll run down them real quick, and then we're definitely going to get into talking about some horror comics in just a minute.
Yeah, and all you beautiful people out there watching at home, man, make sure to put your favorite Friday the 13th song in the comments, man. We'll give you guys a shout out.
Absolutely, man. Well, well, definitely, to kind of, just bring it right out the gate. I mean, I found it listed as the overlay of evil / main theme by Harry Manfredi. I take that's the classic Friday the 13th tune that plays at the beginning. Can you guys confirm?
Manfredi is the one who you hear his voice go, kill, kill, kill.
Really? So he also provides that voice for the... Yep. Gotcha. God, there you go, man. That's why we got the Horror Mafia here, man. They're filling us in with all this awesome... So that would be, just the first one we want to list. The second one would be, the classic Alice Cooper. There was Teenage Frankenstein, which is most iconically played during part 6 when Jason's just tearing that couple up in the RV. And then also more iconic would be He's Back, The Man Behind the Mask by Alice Cooper, which I believe is off that same soundtrack, correct?
Same album. It was with Constrictor, wasn't it?
Yes, Constrictor, classic Alice. We love Alice Cooper. Man, I was just looking up the other day, and I'm like, man, Alice Cooper is like a year younger than my dad. You know what I mean? He's still out there kicking ass and doing shows. Also,
Who are these people saying that drugs are bad? Like, apparently they keep you immortal.
I don't know. If you've seen Alice Cooper, he does. He walks around playing golf all day.
That's true.
But he's walking around.
He's breathing.
I do also got to throw a happy birthday out to my dad. It's also his birthday tonight.
Oh, there you go. Definitely Big Joe. What's up?
Happy birthday to your dad. For me and my dad.
There you go. I was just saying earlier, real
work together.
Yes, absolutely. Went to Police Academy, So
Police Academy together.
One more song and band to list would be it's a more recent Friday the 13th track, and it's the actual track Friday the 13th by the Misfits. So nice. You can hear that primarily during like the Friday the 13th game when you're trying to drive out of the camp. So out of those 4 selections, what would you guys and ladies say would be the one song that represents Jason and Friday the 13th the best?
Man Behind the Mask.
Yeah, Man Behind the Mask.
Yeah, Alice Cooper.
Well, that was Chris Hall's vote down there in the comments, too. He put that up, Man Behind the Mask.
Throw a curveball here. I beg to differ. I'm going with the main theme. When I hear that...
I knew Joey was going to go that way.
Yeah,
when I hear that, I'm just like...
Yeah, but which one? Every movie is a different theme.
Well,
had you put the option of the disco theme, I would have thought about it. But I still would have gone Alice.
I love the disco theme.
That is a good call, Don, because that disco theme is freaking awesome.
I still go with that rap song that's playing in part 8 when he kicks that boombox.
Mr. Fusion's going to love you for that. We got a quick... Since we're talking about the music, we have to talk about this. Me and Mr. Fusion went on probably a month-long hunt to try to find that song in its entirety. When we're talking living in the city ain't no big deal. You got to have a heart made of U.S. steel. If the crack don't get you, then the hookers will. Living in the city ain't no big deal. We went looking for that song. Finally, I don't know where I found it. It was some forum somewhere. Someone's like, "That's not even a real song. They just made it up." It was like. They were just like, we need a rap song.
They're like, do we have money for royalties? No.
But yeah, no. So we got 3 votes for the Man Behind the Mask and 1 vote for the original theme. We got, Chris. We got Chris in the comments. Man Behind the Mask.
And Mr. Fusion's calling out Man Behind the Mask too.
Joey, we definitely respect your, awesome opinion on horror, but, I think we're going to have to give the Power Hour title.
With me, guys.
Technology. You're gonna respect it.
Absolutely, though, man. So that's awesome, you know. And I know it's a great track. I mean, I know Alice still plays it when he rocks out live. So he digs it.
Jason come out on stage.
He cuts his head off. Oh wait, no, that's the guillotine.
That was my first concert. It was Alice Cooper.
Really?
That's
Oh,
awesome.
there you go. That's what happened to Bill.
I know, it's a spry young 12-year-old.
Dude, my uncle was supposed to be watching me. I'm like 8 years old.
That's awesome, man.
Just hanging out backstage.
Yeah, your uncle's the best person to go to a concert with, you know, because your uncle's the guy that's always like, here, have a beer, be quiet, leave me alone.
Now,
Little pony beer and bud. That's where I got my.
now,
That's right.
There you go, man.
My alcohol addiction.
now we don't want to take anything away from a horror mafia podcast episode, but Bill, real quick, if you can, tell us that story about the Exorcist, because I know when I heard that on the show, I was laughing my ass off. I was like,
Back in 1973, my mom decided it would be a good idea to take me and my sister Dawn to the movies to see The Exorcist with my Aunt Denise. And this is in New York City, right? And we waited in line like 2 hours to get in for the tickets. We get in, we all get a seat, and everyone's screaming. I'm going, what? This doesn't scare me. It's nothing. And then suddenly this guy next to me on my left, he's smoking a cigarette, because in 73 you could smoke in the theater.
Sure.
And he jumped and got scared and burned my arm. And I go, ah! And my aunt thought I was scared. And she puts me in her lap. She's like, it's okay, it's okay. I'm like, I'm not scared of the movie. This asshole burned me. That was the first horror movie I saw in a theater. Thanks, Mom.
well, there you go. Now you're just watching out for that burn.
Well, telling that story is exactly when I knew we chose the right co-host.
Absolutely, that was a great episode. If you guys want to hear more wild stories like that, and of course the gang's opinion on The Exorcist, which is definitely one of my favorites. So it was really great to hear guys' different opinions on the whole, not just The Exorcist 1, but literally the whole film series. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that will
4 and 4.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That fourth chapter, it gets a little confusing there,
Which one? There's two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And plenty of story time with Bill.
He's got story time and a couple of recipes here and there.
Well, why don't we move on to some comics? Like, of course, you guys, everyone knows this one up here. The classic Tales from the Crypt. Well, we're just kind of.
I have every issue. In fact, I can get them. I have the hardcover edition.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
Read us one.
Read us one. Story time.
Story time.
Where they are right now, I can go grab it.
That's so awesome. Now,
Do it, Bill. Do it, Bill. Don't just tease.
Oh, he's going. He's going. Here we go.
Grabbing. Look what's right next to me.
Oh, man.
Eerie. There you go. That's definitely on the list.
Knock someone out with this.
I know he's got the hardcover.
That's awesome.
That's the Italian in him. Everything needs to be a weapon.
Really, I never realized how not violent like outwardly, but like how violent the Italian culture. Just like listen to my dad and uncle talk to each other. It's like, okay, let's go. Guys, relax. They're like, well, they just said you want to get a cup of coffee.
No, totally, man. No, I discovered not long ago my dad was adopted, but he was from an Italian family, and my mom's 100% Cuban. So I keep thinking, like, when you look at the two Scarfaces, I should really be one of the angriest, meanest people in the universe, but it somehow neutralized itself. Like two positives make a negative, but a negative and a positive makes a
Tales in the Crib.
Oh, man.
There he goes.
Got the box set right there.
The anthology
man.
right there.
You can freaking bury somebody. Those are cement boots.
I'm telling you.
Throw their feet right in there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. All right, well, thank you, Bill.
Is that on Mr. Bali to bury with the fishes?
Tie that to their legs.
So, I mean, I think we know Bill's answer on this one, but you guys would say that Tales from the Crypt very influential on horror as a full genre.
Yes.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, and not even just those, but I think the other ones too that came along with it. Vault of Horror.
Oh yeah.
Suspense stories.
Right.
there were so many books back in the 50s, that like we said, of course, Tales from the Crypt being the most recognized EC comics, but yes, absolutely, just EC comics in general just put out so many stories. It was before really the whole comics code really started.
They're the reason the comics code came in.
You got it, Bill. Definitely, they definitely laid it down, and yeah, they're great stories.
Magazine.
And I know a lot of people don't realize it, but a lot of the 80s HBO show were based directly off of the comics, like the stories.
Every one of them.
Yeah, of course, Creep Show, big love right there.
I have my Creep Show.
So we're going to stay on the Tales from the Crypt image, but we definitely got a couple other comic book characters to talk about. And you guys just kind of let us know what if you think these characters have played like a good role as far as in the horror genre as a whole.
Or if you think they suck, you can say that too.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Now we're going into kind of, we talked about the 50s. I'm sure there was definitely some horror-related stuff of the 60s, but, a lot of people, they experimented and stuff and probably forgot about it. So we're going to move on to the 70s. Let's talk about Blade. What do you think about that? We're not, I'm not just talking about Wesley Snipes, but Blade comics.
No. 70s Blade.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Afro Blade.
I only know Wesley Snipes Blade.
Yeah, same here.
That's okay. Back in the day, he just wore like this big like yellow visor, and I still think he did everything that Wesley Snipes did.
Well,
but
no, it's funny. Like original 1970s Blade, Bill seemed pretty familiar with it, so he can back me up on this. He's not a daywalker. He has no supernatural abilities. He's just a guy who is hunting Dracula.
I could have sworn he was half vampire. It came from the Dracula comic that Marvel had?
Mm-hmm.
They had the werewolf. What was it called? The Werewolf by Night.
Yes, Werewolf by Night.
Man thing, the giant-sized man thing.
Yes.
And they had Dracula.
Yeah, and I mean, he may have developed the Daywalker in comics. Like, I'm not saying that was something they just jumped to in the film, but I'm almost positive, dude, that his original
Daywalker thing, though.
Yeah, that we'll have to check on that, man, because I don't know. Like, I got a feeling he was just a regular dude at first, but
could be.
Yeah,
then he got bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Drac. That whole storyline, and of course Morbius. The living vampire.
Morbius. Oh gosh. Let's go. Who's playing Morbius?
Oh, do we know what's going on down on that one? Is he going to pop up somewhere?
Just do a Google search for actor playing Morbius.
Oh,
really?
Man. All right, we'll do it.
Oh man, El Bandito. Now El Bandito's like, I gotta see it. We're doing that right now. Now, of course, he's known for all the popping up in Spider-Man. First appearing. Let's talk a little bit about Swamp Thing.
Oh my God! No!
He just
dude, it's Jared Leto. Oh God!
Yeah.
No way, dude.
Is it going to be Gangster Morpheus?
Oh, wait, look.
Morbius?
It's a spin-off movie, so it's probably being produced by Sony, so no one's going to care about it. It's going to be terrible.
It'll be in the same universe as the Fan-Fortastic movie.
There you go. Now, what about Swamp Thing? How does he fare? I mean, I know he's more of a sci-fi kind of monster, but I mean, he was always fighting monsters.
Represent Wes Craven.
What was that?
Oh, yeah.
You got to represent Wes Craven and a naked Adrienne Barbeau.
There you go.
Nice.
You see both of her Barbeaus in that movie.
And it was only rated PG, right?
Yes, it was. My mom took me and my friend to see it. She was never more embarrassed in that nude scene. Me and my friend were like, yeah!
Man, Bill should just tell stories about when he went to go see movies as a kid.
It sounds pretty exciting.
The fake mustache.
Oh, that's another story with Reanimator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to mention that. Really, and I'm not trying to come off the comics thing, but now the theme for Reanimator is like a re-rendition of like the theme from Psycho, right?
It's straight up.
Oh, definite ripoff. Yeah.
It's straight up.
I mean, we love Reanimator. We love Reanimator so much that we actually did a Reanimator LARP one time.
Yeah,
nice. My top 5 movies of all time.
Exactly. We actually took on the whole thing of the House of Reanimator. So, like,
I wanted to see that so bad.
Yeah, El Bandito was kind of playing like the President George Bush-esque. I mean, I wish we would have filmed it because it was actually we had a lot of fun.
Well, me getting to improv like a George W.-esque character was super fun.
But yeah, we totally had a Herbert West, and he reanimated the vice president. It was a blast. But I just wanted to throw that out to you guys about the theme, because I think I was trying to think that up when we were talking about music, and I just remember being that, man, that theme is so iconic from Psycho, and they kind of. We're like, yeah, I'm going to use that too.
Oh man!
Now you mentioned,
if you're a fan of Reanimator, real quick.
Oh yeah.
Today, new episode dropped from one of our brother sister podcasts on the network, Exploding Heads. They do a Reanimator franchise retro.
We're gonna definitely have to check that out, man. Yeah, we love those flicks. I wish they would make a fourth movie, but
That would be great.
Yeah, they were all very, very good. So getting back to the comics, Bill, you mentioned earlier Man-Thing. I know him and Swamp Thing kind of came out around the same time. Yeah. So what do you guys think?
Nobody copied, though. That was totally a coincidence.
Yeah. Yep.
That was like the inventing the radio thing.
Tony or Edison Ray.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the 80s, we know there was tons of horror movies and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the horror magazines. We saw Eerie earlier, popping up, Heavy Metal, which I know is, also some sci-fi, but definitely horror, and then, of course, Fangoria magazine. I mean,
Still got my collection, bro. Issue number 1.
What's that? Oh, you have issue 1? Oh, there you go. That's
hot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those were definitely, very, a very much part of the horror genre culture, as far as those go. What would you guys say is your favorite out of those magazines?
Creepy.
There you go. We'd even mention that one.
Yeah.
How about you other guys over there?
Well, I'm not a huge comic guy, so I literally picked this up. I walked into the comic book shop and I was like, I'm looking for a horror comic, something, and they were like, oh, why don't you try The Walking Dead? I'm like, The Walking Dead.
Oh, it's good, man.
It's different in the show.
Kirkman is amazing.
No, I've read the first 30 Walking Dead comics before the show was, but I was like, Tales from the Crypt, do you have those old school? And they were like, no, but he's like, oh, we had this. It was like $50. I was like, I'll do it for 40.
There you go.
It's a hardcover.
Eerie, nice.
Yeah, it's $49.99 on the cover. But
I've got the first bunch of issues of. It's called The Creeps, and they're remember Warren Publishing. This is called Warrant Publishing, and it's exactly like Eerie and Creepy. And it's still going strong. They have covers from Frank Frazetta, the old school artist, Conan and all that.
That's awesome, man.
Check it out. It's really good.
Donnie, how about you over there? Do you have any favorite horror magazine or horror genre?
No, I'm worse off than Joey. I know next to nothing. No, I spend more of my money on the DVDs and the movie, DVDs and Blu-rays. That's where I spend my money. Yeah, I know next to nothing about comics and stuff. I don't even know that they're actually adaptations until they say so on the screen.
One thing that it was a comic, but then it also was a movie, but a cartoon, and I got the steelbook of it. Is Spawn?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Main cartoon.
Heck yeah. One coming, man.
Spawn. Love that. I have the
movie coming too. Jamie Foxx playing Spawn.
Yeah. There's, I'm constantly surprised about how many things after comic books kind of took off got adapted to film from comics that you wouldn't even think was a comic. I mean, V for Vendetta, you're like, okay, that was a little wild, so that definitely came from a comic. But then something like Bullet to the Head, the Sylvester Stallone movie, that's based on a graphic novel.
That was.
Yeah.
Yep. What about what was that Tom Hanks movie that came out? The Road to Perdition was a comic.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic movie too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the 300.
Yes.
And Watchmen, of course.
Yeah, Sin City, of course. That's City. That one even looked like a comic shit.
Yes.
On the screen.
That was a comic.
But there are a lot of sleeper movies out there that are normal stories, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That was a comic, but it didn't have any superheroes or anything in it. So there's a lot of stuff like that nowadays. And Bill, I did go ahead and look it up while I was interneting here, and from what I can tell, you're absolutely right. Blade was always a daywalker, even in comics. So I stand corrected.
Big Bill.
But I wasn't sure if he was daywalking.
Yeah, I mean, the specifics like of what they called him then may have been different, but it seems like everything I just looked at was like, yep, from issue 1, he was half vampire. So,
gotcha.
Absolutely. There we go. We're about the facts. And we're all about the love around here, man. We're all loving the horror stuff, man. But, why don't we go ahead and step into our next little area of...
Before we do the next step ahead, guys, you can't forget things like Evil Ernie.
Oh, yeah. There he goes. Bill's throwing it.
Issue number 1 graded, by the way.
Awesome.
That's like Brian Polito over there doing Lady Death. Like Lady Death was a good one.
Absolutely, man. One of the newer books that I really love is Hack and Slash. I
love Hack and Slash, dude. I've been reading them since the first one.
Yes, I love when she actually took on Chucky, which was a lot of fun.
We've been to 2 cons now looking for Tim Seeley, and we always manage to miss him. It sucks, but we're going to get him. We're coming for you, Tim Seeley.
He's a nice guy, too. Another one I want to bring up that you guys may have not have heard about is called Crossed.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Bill's going into that Garth Ennis.
Oh, man.
Ennis, man. He's like, anything he writes, I will read.
He definitely has a taste for the macabre.
Yeah,
he's the guy that did The Boys, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a little.
Sure.
That's a little tough for me, man. I'm like, what?
Dude,
no.
I have every issue of The Boys from start to end, and I will not give them up.
I can't get their parody out of my head the whole time. So when you're watching the scene and you're like, dude, that's Batman and Robin, and they're just finger cuffs all over freaking Catwoman. Like, no, this is messing with my head, man.
So, Bill, why don't you give us
a movie with that?
I was like, I want to see it actually in action.
I want to see this Hack and Slash movie they've been talking about forever, man.
Yeah, but they've been talking for years. I don't know if it's going anywhere.
Yeah,
Chew is another good one. You guys heard of Chew?
Chew, yeah. Actually, I think were those like I'm thinking of like those big tree monster things. Like I think it was called Bump or something like. Yeah, I know they were out.
Yeah, not that. Chew is where a guy can like eat something and know everything about it. So like they have him on like the detective. For the USDA, like eating a body part, like eats people, and then finds out they're murderer and stuff like that. It's really funny.
Yeah, I've seen that one a bunch. I got to check that one out, man. That sounds pretty cool. I know, if you like Garth Ennis, you got to be a fan of Mark Miller then, because he did like Kick-Ass. Yeah. Did you ever read his Super Crooks?
I have not, but I did read all of the first 3 series of Kick-Ass.
Yeah, dude, you got to check out Super Crooks. It's only like an 8-part miniseries thing, so you can buy it as like a graphic novel, but it's basically like a bunch of super villains who are like master criminals, so it's kind of like the Italian Job, but with superpowers, so it's pretty cool.
I did read one of his where he had like this super villain thing. It was like the guy who was all in white, like a phantom look, and I forgot the name of it, though. I have it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, shoot me a message on that one, man. I'll check it out. Because, like, again, he can get into that territory. Like, he wrote, I think it's called Trouble. That's a story about Spider-Man, but it's really about Aunt May and Uncle Ben and how they were, like, swingers and stuff. And I'm like, why am I reading this? Like, this is so weird.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Well, web swinger, a whole new name.
You're the web swinger right there.
I haven't read it yet.
Preacher, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Preacher's freaking awesome. That's Garth Ennis, though, right?
I haven't left the diner in it yet, but I can't. I gotta get into it.
The show is so very different, though. Yeah, I'm surprised how different they are.
Well, definitely
there was one comic that I read a few issues of. Like I said, I used to just go into the comic book shop and be like,
"Can I guess on this, Joey?"
Yeah, sure.
Lock and Key.
No, not Lock and Key. I think, it's older than that. It's from, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something. It's called Blood of the Demon.
Oh. Yeah.
And it's a DC comic. And,
Oh, that's why.
That's not mine.
That's why. I don't know, some guy named Jason Blood, that's his name, like, and the demon, and they're like, symbiotic, basically.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You reminded me of something. Go ahead.
And I don't remember the demon's name, but yeah, it was just like, then all of a sudden he was fighting like Superman and Batman were up in there. I was like, what the heck? It was nuts.
But like before, I want to get into like Marvel Zombies. I don't want to go too much. I know you guys got a time show here. But Marvel Zombies is great. Another thing with Kirkman.
Yeah.
But guys, there's a good friend of mine. His name is Sean French. He lives up here in Maine. He made a horror movie called The Wrong House. And he's a buddy of mine, and he made a comic book which became like world renowned, where Clive Barker was like, "This is great stuff."
Oh, that's awesome.
It's called Escape from Jesus Island.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Is this like kind of like Battle Pope?
No, it's nothing like Battle Pope.
Okay.
It's more like I really can't explain it, but a lot of my friends are depicted as monsters in this.
Oh, wow.
And it's in characters, and it's really good. You got to check out Escape from Jesus Island.
All right, man. We'll keep an eye out for it. It sounds pretty cool. But I know we've got someone checking out the program right now, Chris Hall. We've mentioned a few times tonight.
Hey,
but
Chris.
yeah, he's a colorist, and he says he's working on Maniac versus the New York Ripper right now.
Ooh,
So
is
he
it
says,
Iban Press?
yeah, he says it's bloody and obscene, and it would make the Sawyer family pause and say, "I think this is a bit much."
Oh, man.
But he also just came off an interview with us a few weeks ago where he was working on a book called Into the Darkness that he was doing with Mark Zuptich and Sean Barber. That was a Kickstarter book that the three of them have completely produced themselves, and it's sort of a horror action superhero genre mashup, and that one looks like a lot of fun. So if you guys get a chance, check out Into the Darkness over there on Kickstarter.
I certainly will.
Oh, yeah, man. We've been...
Escape from Jesus Island.
We will, dude.
I'm talking to Chris, by the way.
We've been...
Chris, you're talking about Maniac versus New York Ripper. A buddy of mine named Sean Lewis he runs this company called Eibon Press, EIBON, and they did a Maniac comic, and they did a couple of Fulci movies too. So I'm wondering if it's like with them, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. We're on a bit of a delay, so it'll take him about 15 seconds to get back to us.
Okay.
So, we've dived into some awesome horror comics, and, we've talked about Friday the 13th, but, man, there's so much stuff in the video game world that also centers around, like, horror. And we wanted to kind of just run through a couple of those, and you guys kind of just give your opinion if you think this is a worthy title, to hold that horror, mantle.
Well, Chris Hall says he was the colorist on all those books you just named. So.
Really? So he's from Eibon Press with Sean Lewis. Nice. He's got my respect then. Chris, you rock.
There you go, man. Definitely, like El Bandito said, definitely go out there and check out Into the Darkness. It's one of his latest projects.
And I have to say, when I checked out the Kickstarter page for Into the Darkness, the first thing I noticed was like the amazing color on the pages. They have the first 7 pages up so you could read them. And dude, he has one scene that's like a sun setting. That's this brilliant like array of oranges and yellows. It was just, and everything's set to black, so it's just beautiful silhouette. It is just really, really nice. So much love, Chris, out there.
Oh, yeah, man. All the love here at Power Hour, man. We're being tonight joined by the Horror Mafia podcast, man, and we're having so much fun. But, we're going to be partying for just a little while longer because we got some wild games, not just digital, also some in the physical form. And we want to hear what the Horror Mafia thinks. And who knows, maybe we'll even introduce you guys to a couple titles you haven't heard of before.
I would love that.
All right, let's check it out. All right, Bill, this one seems right up your alley with that Commodore 64, man.
Haunted house on the Atari.
There you go.
Now, my first thought is like, is this an Aqua Teen Hunger Force game?
I love that.
I can't do his voice anymore.
All right, so what is this, Senor Boyle? What are we looking at here?
All right, so you're looking at the classic haunted house, like Bill had said,
I'm old. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I rocked this one out. Now, Bill, we had about 2 months ago, we had a big name that game tournament where people would guess the name, and definitely our buddy Big Steve got this one. Now, here's a question for you. Do you remember in this game what the 3 objects you were trying to collect to form you're collecting 3 pieces to form an object. What was that object?
Oh my God. Was it, hold on. Jesus, man. We're talking 1977. A key? I don't remember.
You were going to lay it down for you. It was actually an urn. That's what you were trying to
That's right. It was a gold urn. You're right. I remember now.
Now, Don and Joey, you guys much of gamers?
I used to be when I was younger. Like,
Joey just asked us what Fallout is. No, he's not much of a gamer.
No, once I had kids, that was it. Like, video games ended.
They just turned into that thing that you put them in front of, and you're like, leave me alone now.
Here's we go bold. Don't put the remote to the television.
I'm gonna go in the other room where there's silence.
Yes, exactly. Well, but I used to play games. You know, I've my whole life up until like my mid-20s when I had children. So up until about I'd say maybe 7 years ago.
There you go. Yeah. So, like I said, we're not just talking about the video games. We also have some board games on here. Like I said, and even some of these games, I mean, I don't know if you'd want to introduce the kids to Haunted House. I mean, that one might be a little, I mean.
Well, no, there was a newer one. You know, they made a remake of it.
Really?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't know that.
But it was updated.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, because like
for my kids on the Wii.
Yeah, a lot of kids would probably look at this and we'd be like, "Yeah, we paid $50 for this when it came out," and they're like, "What? That looks terrible," you know.
That's crazy.
Bill, we know you did kick some butt on our Name That Game tournament, and you should get your package any day now that we sent you up there. So,
Nice. Big Steve.
No, you.
Oh,
Me?
Yeah. You won third place.
Yeah.
I did? Oh, wow. I remember like when I'd casually go on, I'd see it, I'd respond. I wasn't on Facebook all the time because I was doing school and work and stuff. So.
Yeah, but you were getting them on there quick and earning extra points because you were, one of the first people getting good answers in there, man. So
nice.
Yeah, so we sent you up some gear. I forget what it was, but you'll like it. It'll be fun.
Speaking of prizes and giveaways and stuff, I got to plug our little giveaway that we do on our show.
Go for it. Yeah.
Like every couple of weeks, we do a little giveaway, and recently we changed the format where we now have an Amazon wish list. So rather than having me, send it to you like 3 episodes later, you go on the Amazon wish list, pick what you want, I type it in, have it sent to you via Amazon. So in order to win, to enter for free, write us an iTunes review. Send us a message on Facebook or whatever, and just let us know, because sometimes it takes a little while to pop up or whatever. And that's one entry. And you could also buy entries by donating to Patreon $1, and that'll get you 2 entries. So we give away all sorts of stuff. For the double episode, we gave away the new Blu-ray release of Friday the 13th.
Nice.
To, one listener.
1 to 8, right?
Yeah. So they put together the ultimate collection, and we gave that away for that episode. So we have some good stuff. Recently, Texas Chainsaw Massacre lunchbox was one.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. We didn't send you anything that nice, Bill. So yeah, man, all you cats out there checking us out, make sure to hit up the Horror Podcast, man. Check out their Patreon where you can get some entries. Definitely check them out on iTunes and stuff. Leave them a review out there. Show them some love over on YouTube, on Horrorphilia, on their website, man. Get in touch with these guys because I've been touched by Big Bill before. It's pretty awesome.
I actually met him.
I want to rephrase it. I want to rephrase it.
Hey, it's after 10. The after hours.
It's gonna be a new Patreon tier. I'll touch you for $1.
That's hilarious.
To shift back to the video games, horror video games though, I was a Resident Evil guy growing up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
For the new release, me and my boys in the dark playing Resident Evil 2, jumping, and it's like,
let me see. We got some Resident Evil for you right there, baby.
There you go, man.
Raccoon City, baby.
Now, this series has definitely taken a lot of twists and turns, but even the most recent entry, Resident Evil 7, went back to like the horror roots.
7 was like Texas Chainsaw, dude.
Exactly, man. It really made you feel uncomfortable. It made El Bandito feel so uncomfortable playing the demo.
I didn't play the game. I was like, no. Will lent it to me. I had it for like 4 months, and every couple of days I'd pick it up and be like, nope.
The last one I think I played was on GameCube. It was like Resident Evil 4 or regular Wii maybe, and it was like it became like a shooter. Like I had to it was Wii regular. I had to aim the Wii controller, and it was like shooting, and I was like, what the hell?
There's no zombies either. It was all like alien parasites.
Yeah, like I said, it really did some weird.
Gets a little in the middle there, but it got like a little kind of close to what was going on in the movies. That doesn't have anything to do with the game.
But
it took me until Extinction. It took me until Extinction was released to realize that these were actually based on video games. That's my knowledge.
Well, what are your guys' like? What is your guys' comparison rating between game and film for those who've played or seen both?
Oof.
I
I've
love
only
the movies.
played the first
I love
Resident
movies.
Evil at first because I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like the forced bullshit. Like you can't escape from getting bit in one point. And
Yeah.
camera. I didn't like one.
Yeah, the camera was always very odd.
It was.
Oh, Chris, our buddy over there at Ebon Press, he's saying, Silent Hill was his jam back in the day.
Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got some Pyramid Head action going on.
Those games were just sinister. It was like Resident Evil kind of was like for your casual fan. Silent Hill was like your, Japanese horror fan.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, like that alternate dimension. But Donnie, you go.
Yeah, I didn't even know Silent Hill was based on a video game until the second one, Revelation, came out.
Oh, we gotta keep naming game movies until we can find a new one. Donnie
House
didn't
of
know
the
was a
Dead,
game.
Yeah, House of the Dead. I didn't even know that was. I didn't know that was a video game.
You didn't know that until April Fool's Day this year when we did April Fool's Day.
I'm not gonna lie, I still think that game was better than the movie, just because that game was so kick-ass.
Oh,
Yeah, that game
movie's
was
awesome.
much better.
Yes. House of the Dead, like,
awesome.
I don't even recognize that as a
And I know
movie.
the
The
writer,
movie
guys.
is awesome. The movie is awesome.
It's a torture.
Well, hey,
The movie is awesome.
Donnie, did you know Super Mario Brothers was a game before it was a film?
What'd you say?
Did you know Super Mario Brothers was a game before it was a film?
The only thing I knew.
No, one.
Yeah, no. I've played like 3 hours of video games in my life, and that was it.
I can tell you the one that got me that I was like, dude, I can't believe they took such a great comic book story and ran it through the garbage. Because Resident Evil, like, if you didn't call it that, would be a pretty cool movie, But if you're a fan of the game, it's hard to watch the movie and think that that has anything to do with your game. But the movies by yourself, even like Donnie said, they're pretty kick-ass. But the one that got me, the movie was just bad, and the game had so much great story that I was like, how did they F this up? Was Blood Rain. Have you guys seen Blood Rain?
Oh yeah.
Blood Rain is awesome.
Wasn't that also Uwe Boll?
Yes.
Yes.
Covered it.
I know.
Yeah.
Trying to make Donnie remember.
But have you guys played the game? Have any of you played the game?
That's a really good
I
game.
haven't played it.
I haven't. No.
Dude,
You're
the
a
game is
vampire
like
killing
you have to
Nazis.
kill
That's
monsters and Nazis.
Yeah.
That's guilt-free killing. Like you don't feel bad about killing either of these things, and they completely left that out of that movie. And I'm like, what are you guys
Yeah, they
doing?
did.
It
So
became a
crazy.
medieval mess.
It
Yeah.
did.
Supposedly, part 3 is actually the closest to the video game.
Right.
Oh, I gave up after 2.
Yeah.
That was like the Western. I was like, what? So
Part 2 is a Western.
yeah, maybe I'll go
3 is
check
one-
out 3 then.
Yeah,
Yo,
part 3 they say is actually a video game.
So I'm having flashbacks from my childhood right now. And, like, we're talking about all these video games, and dude, I remember being like, I don't know, I had to have been like freaking 5 years old playing Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Oh, when I
don't
was
even-
25. All right.
What a horrible night to have a curse.
late 80s, bro. I was born in 84, so
I know. I'm teasing you, man.
by the time I actually had the game, it was probably like 1990. I was probably like 6 or something. But like now that I'm thinking about it, this had to be an influence on why I love horror.
Yeah.
Like I never realized actually that I was playing a horror video game.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What a horrible night to have a curse.
Yeah. But
Oh, one of
I
the great
hated that
Black Dahlia murder songs.
Oh,
One
It's
of
like
the
every
best
15
songs.
seconds.
it goes dark.
Yeah. It's like every 20 seconds. You're like, come on.
Well, it was such a, when you played the first game, of course, being like a, mostly a platformer, and then the second game kind of introduced more of the RPG elements too. It was just awesome, man.
Yeah, I love that they gave you just enough of the RP elements to be like, this is really cool, but not actually play the game. Because what's that one that you have to take some red stone and go stand next to
Yeah,
an
and then like you get a kneel in some spot in a tornado. What?
Yeah, and a tornado takes you away, and you're like, oh, I should have known. Of
Even
course.
Nintendo Power didn't have that. I don't think. You
Oh.
had to freaking cheat by looking it up online.
Oh man, our buddy Neil down here, he just threw down an awesome reference that we should have thrown in Podunk News.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Go ahead and throw that one down. You got it over
He's
there?
saying Donkey Kong was released 37 years ago today. So in case you didn't feel old, Bill, there you go.
Mario.
I feel old too.
Oh, Chris is asking who remembers Night Trap. Now that's
Trap, yes,
yeah,
with the girl from Different Strokes.
Yep. Now these are going into like the FMV movie video games, And I actually heard that they're going to re-release Night Trap, I guess, on the Switch or something.
Nice.
No.
Yeah.
Like nudity and stuff in the game. You can't put it on a Switch.
I don't know. Big Steve, I know, threw it down there. So sometimes, I don't know if he's being honest on if that game's actually going to come.
That's just a dream he had,
That's a fever dream.
That's awesome. Well, let's see what else we got on this list.
All right, we'll back it up one here to check out the Arkham Horror board game for Monster Hunters.
One of my favorites, actually.
You know it, man. Now, Bill, we know, Fantasy Flight, I don't know if I don't know who originally released this game, because obviously this is the 1980s version. But then, of course, Fantasy Flight got a hold of it, and they re-released the one that we know today. Now, we love this game, but we kind of consider it like a collegiate level board game. Like, it's not a game that you could just be like, hey, let's play Arkham Horror tonight, because it takes about an hour and a half to set it up.
You got like 3 episodes of Horror Mafia to watch, listen to, while you play a game.
Well, it's more like if it has more than 40 pages of instructions, we consider it an advanced game. So,
Donnie or Joey, would you guys ever play a board game that had 40 pages of instructions?
No.
It took about 10 hours to play.
I'm an English professor. I do enough reading. I don't need to read a 40-page manual.
Oh, man, Joey's on the move out there. Where's Joey going?
That's not a boob, it's his head.
I had to swap over to my cell phone here.
Okay.
No, I didn't say a boob. I said he's on the move.
I see a boob.
Well, I explained my boob if you want to see.
Hey, there we go. Oh, man. We got that R rating for our Horror Fest.
Hey, we were just talking about the Night Trap, how that had nudity in it. Now the Power Hour of Love's got some nudity in
Breaking
there.
new ground right there.
Oh,
We have nipples.
and Big Steve is saying that absolutely the Switch release of Night Trap is true. So
He just put a link to it in the comments of our Facebook feed. So if you guys want to check it out later.
Nintendo would go that low, but okay.
But
remember the 3DO friggin' console?
Yes. Yes, they had awesome horror games. What was that? They had a really great horror game on there when it first came out.
Which
what
one?
was it, Bill?
Wait, Splatterhouse?
oh man, that's a classic.
No, that was the TurboGrafx
Was it-
16.
Was it it's like, aren't you like Are You Afraid of the Dark or something like that? Was it Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, I didn't have a 3DO. I don't know.
I just remember when it premiered, it was like you could demo it at stores and things. So like you'd go to the mall and I'd just sit there and play this horror game because there's lots of people and it's bright, which I'm okay with.
Absolutely, man. Well, it definitely, Arkham Horror, classic board game. Great, if you want to actually feel like you're playing a horror movie. And, like you said, it's going to take some time, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of board games, Toys R Us is going out of business. So
They're gone, dude.
Yeah, they're gone.
You're living in the past, man.
And I got a Ouija board for $10.
There you go, man. Jeffrey's final sacrifice. But what other games do we have on here?
Let's see. Oh, we've got Lakeview Cabin Collection is over on Steam, man. Again, we were talking about PC games earlier.
Oh, I have that, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a great run of games, man. Tell us all a little bit about that one, Bill.
Well, the first thing I did is when I went to the movie, I got all my characters naked, and then drove a motorcycle through a house and exploded, and I lost a leg, and then limped around. It's so much fun. You're in a horror movie, and you have like 2 things you could do. You could use, pick up, and walk. And that's
Yep.
it. 3
Yep.
things.
That sounds like what everyone's doing in a horror movie is using
picking up or
Picking
dying.
up chicks, and dying.
Oh, you can have sex in the game too.
There you
That's
go.
definitely
Have sex. I was trying to do that. That's why I got everybody naked.
No.
And when you pick the guys up over your head, if you're like the girl,
Yeah.
you see like their schlongs are in your face.
I haven't heard that word in a long time. Long.
No, one thing I really liked about this is each level that you play is like kind of based on a different horror film. Like, there's like the Friday the 13th level that takes place actually at Lakeview Cabin. Then there's like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre level, Halloween, and I think even an Alien level. But I've actually played this very, beginning to end, and even still now, the developer will go out and put occasional little surprises and updates where you could just, it's just so much fun. Like you said, it's very indie. It's made by one dude. It's not the most graphically intense adventure you're going to play, but so much fun.
It is so much fun.
Well, I got Big Steve in the comments says Alone in the Dark is the game that premiered on the 3DO.
And another movie by Uwe Boll.
Oh man, we're gonna call this the Uwe Boll episode.
Was Christian Slater in that?
Yes, he was.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
That's like that movie was in my head, and I was like, no way that was part of that game. And of course, Uwe Boll bridged that gap, didn't he?
He had to go there. Well, I think
I love Alone in the Dark.
Don means the movie, I think.
I'm not gonna lie though. Like Rampage is a kick-ass movie. What's that, Donnie? I don't think we caught you.
Boll's name, dude. It's a game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Postal
Well,
is
I
his
figured
best movie.
Postal. What about Rampage though? Rampage is pretty cool.
you mean like the one with the
I
monkey
like
and stuff?
Rampage and see. No, I mean I like his movies. Don't get me wrong. I don't have.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Rampage like Uwe Boll?
Yeah,
No,
Uwe
not the
Boll's
With
Rampage.
The Rock, Charboil.
Yeah, no, not he's over here.
That's not based on a video.
My favorite video game is Jumanji. There you go.
Jumanji.
Because The Rock's in it.
I think we got one more board game up here that we
All
wanted
right,
to share.
let's check it out. Oh, man. Camp Grizzly.
I want that so badly.
Well, we could tell you that this is definitely the Power Hour's recommendation. We know you guys love Friday the 13th and the slasher genre. Like this game, I'd have to say, like it's almost. I don't want to discredit it in saying that it's like playing Friday the 13th, the game on a board, because there's a lot of other aspects to it, but a lot of the objectives are the same.
Yeah, like comparison-wise, it's how the game plays out, that you're survivors and they have their own like horror guy. What's his name?
Otis.
And he wears this like teddy bear mask that's on the girl's shirt here, and he's stalking you. So he moves based on rules that in the instructions, and he moves around and hunts characters. And you're trying to get things like gas and car keys and flashlights, and trying to make it to either a car or a boat or some way to escape the camp.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and very unpredictable and very punishing at times. Like we've been lucky enough in some cases where we've just it can kick your ass really quick. Like you think you're doing great, and what we really love is the final round of the game is the finale. And if your particular character has like all the objective cards to leave, you could just leave your other survivor. You can just be like, I'm getting the hell out of here, but then you have to complete that final objective by yourself, which might not be so great.
Yeah, but it's a really cool game in the sense that it introduces, as you're drawing random cards, you could get other characters like the cop who's investigating Otis or, something like that. Or you can pull cards that are like, oh, it's a camper. So it's a kid, and this kid may have some special ability. Like, once on your turn, you can throw him in front of you, and Otis will kill him instead of you.
Love it.
Classic Minion rules right there from Munchkin, right, Bill? But yeah, we definitely highly recommend Camp Grizzly from Ameritrash Games. I know you could buy it on Amazon and stuff like that. And I mean, it does have a little bit of a hefty price tag of $50, but we've played it for many, many hours. We think it's definitely worth it. And any horror fan should definitely check out this game because it literally is like a horror movie in a box.
Nice.
And it's good quality. For the $50, you're not getting flimsy little garbage pieces or nothing. Like, everything's made nice, which I appreciate. Because oftentimes you grab something off Kickstarter and you're like, oh, wow, cool. They sprung for, like, the transparent toilet tissue level paper. Perfect. My favorite. Thanks for not fucking me big time.
So that will wrap it up for, like, our horror video game, board game collective that we kind of had to offer there. Is there anything you guys want to mention, like other video games or movies or stuff that, like, I mean, any diehard fan of horror should check out?
There's a couple of board games I know of.
Let's hear them.
I bought my friend Tanya here a present for Christmas called Hit Z Road. Was it your birthday?
Oh.
Either one.
It was one of them.
December. Hit Z Road, where you're on a road trip killing zombies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
And she has one that we played with a developer, right?
Yeah.
Tell them about it.
It's called The Exorcism at the House of Moncton Falls.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're actually trying
Kind
to...
of like the Trail at House on the Hill meets Pandemic.
Dude, nice.
That sounds awesome. You guys said you play that with the developer?
Yeah.
We went to SnowCon.
A con up here, and he gave us like some free cards.
Yeah, we get the dog.
Yep, and I kickstarted it, so we're getting the board game at my house. She'll be getting to play with me because I bought the whole thing on Kickstarter.
That's awesome. Is that still running now, the Kickstarter, or is that pretty much finished
No, I
up?
think it's over now.
Gotcha. We'll have to wait for it to come out on retail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. How about you other guys? Got anything else you could suggest? I mean, even if it's a movie or something that, you know, we should watch over Friday the 13th to really get the scares going.
This was, I don't know if you guys know about this, but I've been hearing a lot about it on like commercial podcasts. It's been coming up on my Facebook feed, but it's called Hunt a Killer.
Hunt a Killer. Yeah. Oh, is that like that thing, the subscription box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Box, and you know, it's limited to a certain amount of people every month, and there's like a group on Facebook, and it's basically you're figuring out who the killer is. And I was thinking about, you know, maybe springing for it and checking it out, but I was just wondering if you knew about it.
Yeah.
I've missed that one.
We're definitely going to have to see that, man. Definitely, if that's out there. So, yeah, no, that sounds pretty... I mean, I know the whole loot boxing and stuff like that has become, like, really popular, you know, where you get, you know...
It's not like that. They send you a bunch of clues about, like, some fictitious murder.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's like an ongoing murder mystery.
Really?
Sounds of the land box.
So it's kind of like a living LARP almost.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm definitely down for that. I'm going to have to check it out.
That sounds super cool. Although I know, like, I am probably the world's worst detective. I would contribute nothing to this game. Like, oftentimes I come in my house and, like...
Younger brother.
It's like, oh, the cat is sitting next to a pile of broken stuff. And I'm like, what could have happened? I have no idea.
Bill, do you remember the game Assassin? Do you remember that? Where you'd go around and try to gank, you know, your friends and stuff?
Yeah,
we were
like water balloons.
we were totally gonna maybe play that at one point in time, and then we thought, like, I don't know, in today's day and age, like, one of us would probably end up getting arrested for putting bomb or something on some piece of paper.
I think they wanted to do the hey, I want to streak you with a marker thing to indicate that I stabbed you, and I'm like, dude, I go to work in like a $55 shirt. Like, don't, you know, get a fucking marker on my shirt. I'll beat the shit out of you.
But Donnie, did you have something you wanted to add for the suggestion for Friday the 13th?
No, I'm drawing a blank. I'm not into this scene, and I don't know.
Well, then can Tanya have your spot? Because she thought of one more.
Let's hear it.
Well, I got Bill. It was either his birthday or Christopher Bird's birthday. It was called City of Horror.
Oh,
City of Horror. It's a three-dimensional board game.
Whoa, nice.
Nice.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Now, is that pretty much like your typical, like, you know, there's just hordes of zombies and you're trying to escape? Like, what's the objective
No, it's
there?
not. Yeah, kind of, but it's, remember the game Zombies or whatever? And then
Yeah, you're trying to get to the helicopter.
Not like that at all. It's a big board with, like, three-dimensional buildings and, like, Dead of Winter meets zombies.
Okay.
Playing / you know.
No, it sounds pretty cool. So there's even those elements in there where you can kind of get into the character, like almost like some of the other Fantasy Flight games, like, you know, Elder Sign and Mansions of Madness and all those wild ones.
Oh, yeah.
Those are, I mean...
My ex-wife took a bunch of my games, took Arkham Horror.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got it back for her.
Yeah, she got me a new one.
There you go.
You're like, she took the
That's a
ice
good
cube
friend right
trays
there,
out of the
she buys me
freezer.
games in my-
And you know there were Cthulhu ice cube trees, too.
I know. She took my Cthulhu ice cube trays. Who takes ice cube trays out of the freezer?
Nice.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to add? Any upcoming big events? I mean, we know we said earlier about the big anniversary. When's that set to drop?
Soon.
The last, it'll be like the last Monday.
I wasn't involved in this.
Yeah, that one should drop the last Monday of July.
Guys, you did this all while I went to a pee break? You really came up with this whole plan?
Yeah.
Before,
you can't
but
go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I came up with the idea like a couple months ago where, you know, I knew we were coming on it. So I started rattling around ideas of what I wanted to do. And then one night during recording, he went to go take a bathroom during our break. And I was like, hey, guys, here's an idea. What do you think about doing this for our 1-year anniversary?
Well, he keeps asking us to watch his movies and we should do a show. So now he has his wish.
There you go,
I
man.
can't wait.
Kids got to tune in for that one. I'm telling you guys.
Heck yeah,
What do you wish for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely, if
The running joke.
If I had one thing to recommend for everybody to go out and check out just beyond the Friday the 13th, if you're a big horror fan, it would be the Horror Mafia podcast, guys, man. Get out there, check them out on Horrophilia. They're on Facebook. They have their own webpage at thehorrormafia.com. They're over on iTunes, man. You can find these cats everywhere. They got some great stuff, a great anniversary episode coming up soon. We got a couple other folks in the comments who wanted to give you guys a shout out. Shiloh says that Hunter Killer has a great commercial on Facebook, so we'll have to go track that down. Thank you for that. And Big Steve wanted to put his 2 cents in, and he says the most horrifying movie he's seen all year was Solo.
Well, definitely, man. Well, once again, you know, Horror Mafia.
One quick plug here.
Go for it.
Do it.
Real quick. It's not, you know, it's the Mafia side of things. So about 2 months ago, we've been thinking about this, to take on retrospective of The Sopranos. So now in every episode, we started doing timestamps, so you can, you know, if you don't want the Mafia side, you can fast forward and get the horror. But we cover an episode of The Sopranos on every episode of our show now. So we're going up to episode 9 next week.
Because I've never seen The Sopranos, and they're like yelling at me. And I gotta watch every episode every week.
Not seen this week, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, that's awesome, guys.
Yeah. So that's a big segment, and we have Dave Z, our buddy from another podcast, Exploding Heads on the network. So that's a new part of the show that's been awesome. You know, I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I mean, we put a poll. I think about 20-something people said yes, 2 people said no. So we said, hey, let's do it. You know,
they can skip to where they don't have to hear it.
I think we should do more segments where Joey kind of rocks us to sleep like that. That was nice.
And then one last thing I just wanted to throw out there was, you know, I think Friday the 13th is great. I'm not, you know, as big on it. I'm a Freddy guy. So this Friday the 13th, if you need a little change up from that franchise, go with the trilogy of Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, quadrilogy, but yeah.
The original, and I think the second and third are pretty fun for slasher sequels. So give those a check out.
Well, man, that's so awesome that you throw that down, Joey, because on July 20th, down at Morbid Movies, which is a theater down in, or a company that pretty much rents out a theater in
Lake Worth.
Lake Worth, sorry.
at the movies of Lake Worth, they rent out the entire theater there, and they show classic horror movies on the big screen. So if you never got a chance to see them because you were too young or whatever, you can go and you can see these iconic movies. We've been to see Evil Dead down there and a bunch of other flicks. So it's really cool to see them on the big screen. They're usually like remastered and Blu-ray and all this stuff. And they do prizes and trivia and all this. And guess what they got coming right up?
Sleepaway Camp. And it's
Camp.
yes.
Yeah, buddy.
And it's a completely free showing.
Oh,
definitely,
wow.
yeah. So it's
You guys should tell Felissa about this on Twitter.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, definitely. You know, we know Mike and the gang down there at Morbid. You know, bunch of great guys, and we're definitely gonna have to try to make our way down there and be lots of fun and just really good, you know, representatives of the horror community. And we'll be sure to tell them about the Horror Mafia.
Absolutely,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
And
Thank you.
Big Bill, I know.
Myself, actually, guys.
What's that?
I want to give a shout out.
Heck yeah!
Shout out to Will, one of your guys, your guests every other show.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We know Party Man. He's in and out.
Party
you know,
Man.
yeah.
He gave me, when I was his boss, I believe, he gave me a Star Trek pocket watch, and I still have it to this day.
Oh man, we're definitely
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean he usually has to tap out a little early because he works real early in the morning now. But we'll definitely make sure he catches that, man.
No, Will, I love him. He's a great guy. Love his shows on when his appearances on here.
That's awesome. He is. He's such a huge supporter of the Power Hour and a great guy all
He
around.
makes some more damn beef jerky.
That's awesome, man. Well, definitely. Well, it's been a real blast partying with you guys tonight, and we hope you guys have had a great time. And everybody, be sure to go out and check out the Horror Mafia podcast. Like they said, new episode every Monday. So yeah, there's a new one sitting out there tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
We what do we do anyway? Mute Witness and the newly released A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place and Mute Witness, right?
Oh nice. Yeah. It just came out a few months. I actually went and saw it in the theater. That was a pretty wild one. A Quiet Place. You'd probably dig that one.
Yeah. Is it like Happy Death Day? That's I think my favorite horror movie so far.
I love it.
I love it.
That was fun.
Yeah, I love it too.
All right, guys.
Well, Donnie, Terrible Tanya, Big Bill, Baby Joey, thank you guys so much for coming, hanging out with us in studio today, man. It's been a super blast. Like I said, we enjoy your guys' podcast so much. All you beautiful people out there, as soon as this show's over, go and start listening to them. Don't go to bed. Don't go to work tomorrow. Go check out the Horror Mafia podcast. You won't be disappointed. It's totally worth it. It's a super ton of fun, man. They're reviewing all sorts of obscure horror movies, so if you've always kind of wondered, is this one any good? Listen to these guys. They're experts, man. Not only do they know their horror, but they know their movie making, and these guys are hilarious, man. So thank you guys again for joining us tonight. They're over on Horrophilia. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter, man. If you can't get in touch with these guys, there's something wrong with you because they're trying to get in touch with you.
Yeah. You don't know
Hopefully
how to
Spotify, right?
Oh, Spotify too. Look at that, man.
Hopefully, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
They're
baby
going.
steps, baby steps.
Yeah.
We're trying.
But guys, I love being here. I can't say everyone did, but
Oh, I did.
I'm joking.
You did.
No, we love being here, guys. Thank you so much. I
Yes,
want you
thank
guys
you.
to come on our show one day.
Oh, absolutely, man. You name the movie. We'll check it out. We'll come rap with you about it.
Oh yeah.
It'll be a
Give me
blast.
ideas. Don't give me
What's
too
that,
many ideas.
Careful what you're waiting for, guys. Don, like if you have something you'll
Too many
regret.
ideas.
I want to go eat at Joey's house. That's what I want to do.
Oh,
I hear him talk about food. I want to come over there.
I don't stop.
All right, guys, we will tap out for tonight then. We got to let some of these cats go out there and get to bed. But thank you guys again so much for joining us, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next Horror Mafia podcast.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Horror Mafia. And definitely tune in next week where we're going to be doing some real wild stuff, journeying back into the crazy world of professional wrestling.
Oh, man.
So definitely, that should be a lot of fun. But there you go. All right, fellas, have a good night. Thank you guys again at the Horror Mafia podcast, and thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next week, 9 p.m. Power of love, baby. Yeah.
listeners.
Thanks for the
Thank you.
Later.
Thanks for the love.